Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video today. We've been having an issue with the truck. A lot of you guys probably have this problem with your trucks, but the front end, I tried to do an alignment on the truck and actually got the wheels like fairly straight. I don't know if some of you remember, the wheels were kind of cambered at the top ever since we put that lift kit on. So I did that alignment like maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and everything was fine. So I noticed recently today I would hit the brakes and you would feel slop in the front end, kind of like almost as if something was loose. So I had somebody get in the truck and I was checking in the front wheel. When you hit the brake, it jolts back. When I started looking, the head of the bolt on this side of the control arm actually snapped off somehow. The bolt seized into the bushing, so like it's not going nowhere, but it's obviously not being held tightly. So that's obviously an issue. So now I'm hoping that it's like loosened itself up enough where we can tap the bolt out and put a new one in. Because the last time the control arm, I had to replace the whole thing because I had to cut everything out. So that's pretty much the gist of today's video. I'm gonna tear this wheel off and kind of get an idea for what we got going on, and maybe show you guys some like easier ways to fix some of this front end junk on these trucks. So I'm gonna rip this wheel off and I'll catch up with you guys. Okay, so as you can see right here, this is the what I'm pointing to right here. This is the adjustment. So you would loosen this, and on the other side there's a nut. It'd be the bolt head on the other side, and you would rotate that, and this would rotate this cam on this side, and that's how you do your alignment. Upon inspection, this other side, the bolt snapped off. The head of it did. So it must have twisted when I tried to do the alignment, would be my guess. This has play in it. Let's see if I can get it to, you can kind of see it moved a little bit there. It actually moves a lot, but has a decent amount of play in it, but the stud is definitely frozen to that bushing if you look here. So we're most likely going to have to sawzall both of these bolts off and then maybe replace the bushings. I didn't know that you could do that, so hopefully we could replace the bushings. That'd be cool, so I don't have to find a whole new control arm. But I might try and sawzall this side out, possibly take the other side out, because this one definitely spun freely on this side. So I guess we'll see if it'll come out or not. Okay, so I got this control arm out. This bolt actually ended up coming out just fine. Literally, I loosened it up, tapped it out, and then with the one side of this being broken, this just kind of like, it was sitting here like this and it just tilted out kind of. So it looks like, so if you look here, this bushing, this is the entire bushing, so you would press this entire piece out and that would push the whole thing out of the control arm. I believe this lip is part of the control arm, but so there'd just be like a big hole. Now the interesting thing is on this side, you'll notice it has like a big sleeve, but the bushing is the same. But I noticed there's like some weld marks here, so I'm wondering if this hole maybe somehow cracked or got too large. I know how some of the ball joints will do that, where you like this hole's too loose and the ball joints have to be welded in, because mine actually did have to be welded in. But so I'm wondering if they welded this sleeve in to fix that hole in the control arm. But it looks like this would just press through the sleeve and out. Hopefully, I'm hoping I can get it to press out. If not, I'll just find a new set of control arms. I know that these trucks are just really known for the suspension not being rated enough for what they are. Like this control arm is the same one that comes on a D150, so they didn't really up the strength of anything. So I'm really thinking I'm gonna probably try and do something to strengthen this up some. So, but it looks like I'm gonna have to take. I think I'm gonna take this control arm to work tomorrow and see if I can get it, either torch it out with an oxygen torch, or a acetylene torch, and or press it out. It'll have to be pressed out no matter what. But and then I'm gonna hit the wire wheel with all that, get some rust prevention paint up in there, and maybe even re-support these ears too, because I noticed they're kind of like they're just not very strong to me. So I think I'm gonna like re-support those some in some way, just because like the front end on these trucks are just not very solid to me. So okay, so a little bit of jump in time. We got the bushings out of the control arm. So the process we had to go through is, so I took this to work and pushed the rubber portion of the bushing out and torched it. So if you pull this end off, here, let me find. So you'll see there's rubber right there. You'll push the rubber through, and the sleeve will be left inside the arm right here. So then I just took a Sawzall, cut a slit in the sleeve, and then pried them out. Let me find these sleeves, the old ones, so I can show you guys. Okay, so here's the old sleeves. I just cut a slit, bent them down, and pushed them out. And then took this drill bit and filed the insides of these, and I'm going to anti-seize them and then push these new ones back in. So got the garage cleaned up, and then got our control arm getting painted. Just got to put one more coat on this side, and then we're going to throw it on. I always anti-seize everything because I know I'm going to keep this truck for a long time, and I just don't want rust. So we did paint all this. We literally sandblasted it and wire wheeled it down. If you look, I put anti-seize there, and then I put some on the back sides of these too. It might be a little excessive, but I really just don't want these bolts to seize up and rust, and just not something I want to deal with. So, and then we'll obviously put some anti-seize. I put the bolts through the wire wheel. I have like a bench grinder, and put these through the wire wheel. Got the threads cleaned up nice. So I'm going to anti-seize the rods and then the threads on these too, just to be 100% sure that nothing seizes up. Camera guys, but got the wheel on. I'm gonna start the truck, straighten the tire out, and then roughly align the camber and the caster the best we can until we get in alignment. So the truck is like actually done or whatever, but like I started it and everything to like adjust the suspension. It started fine. And I went to drive out of the garage and the starter's just clicking. So it's engaging the starter, but it's not rotating. My friend thinks the starter's bad. I personally think it's something stupid. One thing is I completely forgot to put my blow-by tube back on, so the blow-by has been just dripping straight down onto the starter. So I'm thinking if I pull the starter out, I can clean those contact points in there and it might be fine. But like, I'll show you guys. I ran a power wire to it so you guys could see. It's just literally, it's just so. I'm gonna pull that out real quick. Okay, so I got the starter out, and then I unbolted these two big bolts right here that go on the top side of this. And just pulling this off, all of this stuff right here came out. And I don't know what any of this stuff's supposed to look like, but visually inspecting all of this, it looks fairly dirty inside of here. And on top of that, when I unbolted the starter, a bunch of oil poured off the top of it. Like you can see some of it right there. So it's definitely taking in a decent amount of oil. And then I'm going to unbolt this right here and then see what I can figure out. I think this is the dry gear, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah. Got her running. So, after cleaning out the starter, cleaning everything out, there was so much gunk inside there. All of the contact points of the starter looked great. All the brushes looked great. There was just oil and gunk all inside there. So, I just took some brake clean, cleaned everything out, and put it back in the truck. It's good to go. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I'll have some more good content like next week or so, like actual driver's content. I know we haven't really got a really good video of like driving this thing around, so I'm gonna try to give that to you guys in the next week or so. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.